Vincent Pastore in studio with us. How you doing, man?
Hey, Ron. How you doing?
Good. It's good to have you in here. When I think about your career, you got something a lot of actors that don't have, and that's kind of a life lived before you got into acting.
Yeah, that's right. I really didn't break into the business professionally till I was 43 years old, so I must have did something before that.
Yeah, but don't you agree that real life experiences, it's a lot different than just going to acting school or college? You know, you would have a better idea of seeing the way couples are going to act. You've been in real relationships. You've been in real work
that
situations.
is true, Ron, but there's something that a lot of us street actors, and that's what I call us street actors, forget, that you do have to study.
Right.
You got to study, otherwise you're going to fall on your face when you needed to do something that's, more than one line.
Right.
You know.
At what point did you say to yourself, even though my life is going on this way, acting is something I want to try?
Well, I always had the desire to do acting. When I got out of the service, I studied with the GI Bill down at Pace College. I, took some acting classes, and then I was doing some community theater in New Rochelle. I couldn't get any work, so I went into the bar business, and then I was doing once in a while a community theater play, and then I had this idea. I opened up my own club, and I designed the stage, and the club was based around the stage. The stage was the center point, where normally when you open up a bar, people say, we got to get to the bar. But I designed the stage first. And I had people from community theater New Rochelle coming over, running the set for me. And I got into entertaining people that way with bands and comedy and whatever we were doing back in the 80s. And then I got into the acting. So
even though you weren't completely into acting, it was always there for you.
Yeah. Yeah. We were growing up in New Rochelle High School, and we wanted to, I say we, because I'm talking about me and a couple of the other guys from the neighborhood, we wanted to get into it, but we weren't encouraged to get into acting. We were encouraged to, sports and, rock and roll. We had a cappella groups, and so we weren't really encouraged to get into acting. But, I used to go to the movies and watch Anthony Quinn and Brando and James Dean, and that's how and Cagney on television, and I always wanted to get into the stuff.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting, too, I guess, because you played so many either gangster parts and all, but people don't realize this. Up until probably The Godfather, gangsters never were played by Italian Americans.
Well, right, because Kirk Douglas was in The Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Which was a huge movie. If you look at the earlier stuff, Paul Mooney and Bogey,
right,
and Cagney playing all these gangsters, Edward G. Robinson. Yeah, the Italians really weren't working, though.
Right.
I mean, you had a few Italian-American actors like Anthony Franciosa, and a few guys out there. But not until De Niro and Pacino broke through did people realize that Italians could act, too.
Yeah, it was the 70s.
It was the 70s.
And then, you had Travolta, and suddenly the Italian-American was kind of a sex symbol.
Frank Langella,
yeah,
great actor. You can go on and on. But prior to that, like Lee J. Cobb played the gangster in On the Waterfront.
Right.
His name was Johnny Friendly. I played him recently in a play, the same character. Yeah, Italian Americans weren't given those roles.
Right.
It was given to the different ethnics.
And then Sopranos was the big break for you.
A lot of guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys.
And a lot of those fellas also heard from the Italian American, I don't know what the name of the league is, but that
we shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, that you shouldn't be doing it at all.
Okay. What do you do? Fez, how you doing over there?
Good, Vinny. Thank you.
I feel bad. Yeah, I'm talking over here. What do you do when you have a desire to do something, and Hollywood, if you want to use that term, is only giving you a certain type of work? Do you say, I'm not going to do it? When you know it's going to help your career and launch your career and all the great benefits you get from Screen Actors Guild. I grew up in dark theaters watching people act. You know, that's what I would do on the weekends. Go deliver my paper route and go to the movies. And so did Martin Scorsese, and so did a lot of other Italian American actors, De Niro and Pacino. And that's how we grew up. And we wanted to be up there just like anybody else. So they gave Michael Corleone's role to Al Pacino, and they gave Vito Corleone to Robert De Niro. Who was going to do better? You know? And when Sopranos came along, David Chase knew what he wanted. He wanted some real New York actors who really didn't have familiar faces. He didn't want stars in his show. He wanted guys that he could develop, and people would say, that is, like I was walking through the hallway right now. Hey, big pussy. They relate that character to me. They relate Paulie Walnuts to Tony Sirico. It's like divided down the middle. Hey, I just saw Tony Soprano walking down the street. Yeah, but that's Jimmy Gandolfini.
Right.
So he created these unknown actors to be in his show, and that's part of the success.
And you still hear that every day of your life, wherever you go.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm able to do an event for World Hunger. It all went from that to this now.
Yeah.
And actually, to me, it's full circle, because a lot of the musicians that I'm having at the Hard Rock are guys that played in my club.
Who else is going to be there with you?
All the Chapin family.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Steve and Tom and the kids, they're all going to be there.
They're still doing the Hunger stuff after.
Yeah, John Wallace, Howie Fields, who used to play in my club.
No.
Howie and John used to play in my club with a group called the Strangers after Harry died. Also on the bill is Michael Imperioli from The Sopranos. He's got a band. So I said, Michael, 10 o'clock, you're on. My dear old friend Gary U.S. Bonds.
Oh, cool.
Willie Nile, who I've been following Willie's career for years, and then I reconnected with him through Steven Van Zandt. Also, James Taylor's sister Kate Taylor, and old friends of mine, Chris Brown from the show with his folk music, and this guy is called Killer Joe and the Killer Joe Band, who've been running around New York for quite a while. Plus, in between, different MCs, and they're all Sopranos or actors that somehow played in the Wise Guy movies. That's why we're calling it the Wise Guys.
The Wise Guys.
The Wise Guys, WHY. Wise Guys rock the Hard Rock for World Hunger.
And a lot of you guys still hang out together, too. I know you do different events together.
Yeah, we just came back from California. Tony Sirico brought us out there on a government-issued plane to visit Wounded Warriors. Yeah,
I've known you've been doing that for quite a few years, too, with veterans.
Well, what happened with me, and I tell you, the truth, Fez, is that I got in a little jam while I was up here, and I had to do some community service. So I got in touch with the VA, and they took me in, and I stayed on as a volunteer, and I got involved with them actively. And in fact, right here is a play that I have rehearsal for tonight. It's called Strange Snow. It's about Vietnam veterans. That's my next project.
It's not an easy thing to walk into these hospitals, because you see these young guys, and the fight that they're in, you can't even imagine it sometimes.
There was this guy, Neil, that I met over the weekend, who has, what do you call, prosthetic legs?
Yeah.
He climbed Mount Kilimanjaro last month.
It's amazing.
You know, he told us, he was on stage, how he was driving in a tank, and his legs just, boom, he lost them, everything. And he was at Walter Reed and went to rehab, and the guy just climbed Kilimanjaro. So, I mean, come on. If he could do that, I could walk up my steps.
The 60 Minutes just this week had a prosthetic arm, where now they've got these guys that could pick up grapes and bring it up. It looks like the Star Wars Luke Skywalker arm.
There's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
I said to Neil, how do you feel? Do you feel like you want to continue going? You ever think about the bad things? He says, man, when I was in the hospital and I had no legs, and I was, but now I have a whole positive attitude towards life, and he's representing Wounded Warriors.
Right.
So, yes, because of the technology today, they could do things they couldn't do years ago.
So you're constantly busy. You got a play coming up. You're doing this kind of stuff. Yeah. You'll do independent films. The thing that you did with John Hurd, I think they released it last year, PJ. I love those kind of, first of all, I'm the biggest John Hurd fan in the world.
Oh, yeah, I met John on Awakenings.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, when I was doing a little part. But John's a very, very good actor.
He's amazing, isn't he? And he's one of those guys that you're like, you could almost put him in a category by himself.
Yeah. Who else is like John Hurd?
I would really, if I had to think of anybody else, maybe I'm not even
He's
sure.
like a Gregory Peck
Yeah,
type
it's
character.
that's where you got to go back even
olden guys.
further.
Yeah.
Further than the
Gary
guys.
Cooper.
Yeah, where it's almost like we're not looking for that kind of actor as much, but every role he gets, he just nails it.
Yeah, he nails it.
Yeah,
But he was on The Sopranos.
Yeah, he did The Sopranos
He did a great job
bit.
in The Sopranos. He played the bad cop.
Is there any hopes to get back to TV for you? Is there any desire there, or
Well, for me or
Yeah.
for Sopranos?
just for you yourself?
No, I just I'm producing now, and I just shot a pilot in Little Italy last week, and we got about 3 more days left. It's called Holy Meatballs, and I'm in search for the perfect meatball. It's very funny. I had Pat Cooper and Judy Gold with me, and my friend Cha-Cha, who also was doing something. He told me to plug it. We're doing something at his place at Coney Island for MDA on October 11th. MDA Day, October 11th, with Cha-Cha, who used to be my co-host here on the Wise Guy Show. I look forward to doing films. I'm flying out to Vegas on Monday to do an independent in Vegas, a thing called Red Herring or something. I'm playing a wise guy. But my passion right now is my theater company.
Yeah.
And I have Stevie's wife involved, Maureen Van Zant, and I have a lot of soprano actors involved. And my passion is my theater company because just like Jimmy, I went to see Jimmy twice already in Gods of Carnage. That keeps us alive.
Right.
And a lot of people who saw us on television could come and see us and meet us after the show. We shake hands and stuff. And Danny Aiello told me one thing. Always give the fans what they want because they pay your bills.
Sure.
So that's what it's at.
And I don't think a lot of people are used to, they think of live theater as musicals. But when you're really in a small theater and it's a drama, it's a totally different experience than movies, totally different experience than anything you've ever had before.
Especially, if you don't know the storyline. Like the first time I saw Gods of Carnage, I had no idea it was a comedy. Very similar to Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And to watch Jimmy play that role, it's so against what he did on The Sopranos. We put a play up, my company put a play up called Lamppost Reunion, which was all about what if Frank Sinatra ever went back to Hoboken. And this was done in 1976 here in New York. And we revived it. And we were sold out 3 weeks in advance. And we had a great cast, Frank Pellegrino, who owns Rayo's, and Danny Aiello's kid Ricky. And we had a great cast. And people, when they left the place, said, oh, I didn't know that was supposed to be about Sinatra. I didn't know what that was about. And we kept their interest. Hour and a half, boom. Nobody's going to get up and walk out. And that's what theater is.
Yeah.
To just lock you in, and then for when you walk out, to have something to talk about. And
well, I've seen like a Mamet plays or a Sam Shepard play where it almost feels like sometimes it could spill out into the audience. You're like, these guys are so intense.
Yeah.
We're in this small room. You don't get that feeling in a movie theater watching television.
No.
Where you're physically involved.
Plus, sometimes people make mistakes, and it's great to watch how you got to pick up when you're making a mistake. I'll tell you a story. My friend Bobby Finaro, who was in my last play, Lamppost Reunion, he had a great monologue to do, and all of a sudden, the play's over. And we're walking off, and I kind of realized that we skipped this monologue, but Bobby knew it. So all of a sudden he turned to the audience and he says, let me tell you a story. And he got his monologue
as if it was
and everybody was clapping and everything. And Bobby says, I had to get the monologue out. Anyway.
Well, it's great to see you. You're still doing stuff with the rock and roll stuff as well, too. You're booking this show. What was that? What was that connection for you?
Well, that's from my club days because I was I had a rock and roll club with bands. So to put this stuff together again is a piece of cake. The hardest thing was to get the guys on the time slot. Who's going to go on first? Who's going on second? Who's going to close?
People still have like ego about that after all this time.
Well,
who could close over Gary U.S. Bonds?
There's a story between Jerry Vale and Pat Cooper that they never talked to each other from the 70s. They were both in Vegas. It's because it said Jerry Vale with Pat Cooper, and they had a big fight about it. Who could close after Gary U.S. Bonds? Well, here's the problem. My most of the people that go out now are guys our age. And if you go over to the Hard Rock 6, 7 o'clock at night, you're not going to be sticking around 11, 12 o'clock at night. So what I had to do is figure out when should I put Gary on. So I'm putting Gary on 9 o'clock. Now, after Gary goes off, then I'm putting Michael on, and then Willie Nile, because Willie plays usually like to an 11 o'clock audience down at the Bowery. So I'm hoping that his audience comes in later, you know. So Gary's going on at 9 o'clock, everybody.
So you got to keep thinking of all this stuff as you're putting together a show.
Yeah, right. And then you got to get your blessings from Ron Delsner, too.
Oh, is that right?
Well, you know, he thinks I'm out to chase him away and take over his business. It's only one show, Ron.
It's one show and one show only. Thanks for stopping by, man. I know
this was a great interview. I thought I was going to come on and Fez, I love what you were talking about over there. Yeah. He's a quiet guy.
Yeah, well, he's got the Hitler mustache. He gets
Why
nervous.
are you so quiet?
He gets nervous when new people come into the room.
Do? Yeah.
Yeah?
Till I get to know you.
Yeah. When I had my show, I had a guy like that. He never said a word. But he got his paycheck, so who cared?
Well, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
He gets the same amount of money
that you get.
Now, what I'd like to do is do a thing where we get paid by the phrase. Just one phrase.
Or by the word. That's right. That's right.
Now, every once in a while, he'll throw in a really funny line, and then after that, I watch him sit back. Like, life is good. I did it.
So, did you, think about that Hitler mustache, growing up, or is that, fake for Halloween?
It's no. Oh, no, I don't want to have it for Halloween. No, what happened was I lost a bet.
And
now I have a Hitler mustache.
So you had a longer mustache than that?
Yeah. Well, I had the full beard, Vinny.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you had to shave it off, and now you got the Hitler mustache.
And this is all that's left.
Look at you. You're warming up. Don't you feel comfortable with
Did you go see that movie with Brad Pitt yet?
Oh, yeah, I saw that a couple of times.
Yeah, I bet sitting in the audience, people were looking at you.
Yeah, the guy with the Hitler mustache in that movie, he didn't turn out so well.
Well, don't ruin it for me. I haven't seen it yet.
And you smoke cigars up here?
Yeah, sure. We smoke. You guys can't smoke cigars in yours?
I'm not over here anymore.
Sirius tells us go ahead and smoke cigars the whole time you're in here.
That's beautiful. That's
you know
good.
why we came from the XM side.
Yeah, you got a
different.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me on the show.
Anytime you ever have anything to plug.
I really loved the way you interviewed me today. You did your homework. God bless you.
Why wouldn't I pay attention?
That's great.
You're coming in here.
That's great. Thanks, Fez.
No problem.
Thanks, Ron.
Vinny Pastore, he's going to be hosting the World Hunger Years Wise Guys Rock the Hard Rock for the 2009 Hungerthon. That's happening Thursday, October 22nd at the Hard Rock Cafe in Times Square. You can go to Ticketmaster.com/Hungerthon for tickets to that event.
And Johnny Hard Rock's going to take care of you down there. Johnny's in charge of everything.
Good people.
Oh, yeah,
Good
best.
people.
He's the best.
Okay.
All right, my friend.
All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
I'll see you again. Thank you. Light that cigar.
It's the Ron and Fez Show.
I had to talk Fezzy down because of the uncomfortability, but then had a story. You try not to be noticed in life. And then Vinny leaves you a signed picture of himself.
I guess that was nice of him.
An unasked for signed picture. You're really uncomfortable with strangers now? When people come in?
Yeah, I am.
And there are certain people that don't want to just let you sit. Like, it was making him nervous that you weren't talking.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't like him. Like, you were fucking staring at him like it was going to be trouble.
And he would just throw out a Fez in the middle of a story out of nowhere.
Then one time he just pointed at you to me like, what the fuck is with him? Like Fez was my retarded sister. I might have to take you out of the room. I might have to just take you out of the room. I don't know where to put you. It's like a Little League coach where you don't want to, you don't know where the fuck sometimes you're like, you know what, maybe I'll move him to third base. No, it doesn't, I can't have them both in right field.
Yeah.
I got to have some outfielders. I'll move them over to third base and maybe the fucking, maybe the shortstop can cover for him. But here's what I learned coaching Little League. Wherever you try to put that kid, the ball will find him. And you put him there not even to protect the team, but to protect him and his little, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want this kid to fucking feel bad again. And Bezzy's feeling bad today. I think you're feeling bad because of the problem you had with the bosses.
Oh, it started feeling bad from the beginning, just from yesterday's conversations.
Do you ever think of, with the entire uncomfortability that your life goes through, I might have to kill myself?
No, I don't think that.
Because I think that, and I'm a million times happier than you. And I still think maybe I'll just kill myself. I don't understand people who don't have suicide thoughts.
I mean, I think about it.
Thank you.
Like anyone else, but
What do you think about?
Never a serious thing of it.
How often do you think? By the way, I last night, I say to my chick, it's like 8:30 or something. I go, I'm going to check on Fez. She's like, why? I go, he had a bad day today. I'm gonna make sure he's okay. She goes like this. Don't remind him of his day. It's a feeling I have. Third ring, he answers the phone. He's fucking crying. He's crying because of what the bosses did to him yesterday. 8:30 at night. I will tell you this. We get off the show. What time here?
3.
What time is the exact time we're off?
2:55.
2:55. By 2:58, I forgot I was even on the show. Every fucking day. It's just gone to me. 8:30 at night, he's like this. Hello? And I'm like, I know it. I fucking knew you felt bad. And then you gave me one of those I can never do anything.
Oh,
speeches.
yeah, because I went into the pits last night.
I had a feeling that you would, because I talked to you around, 4:30 or whatever.
Right.
You were upset. But I don't know if I've ever been upset by something other than like a death 4 hours after it happened. What do? You just keep sitting and thinking about the same thing?
Yeah, and I try not to think about it, but it gets on a loop in my crazy head.
I want you to take this to your house with you. Ron and Fez, thanks. Vinny Pastore.
It's a good picture of him.
When he was leaving, I was like, all right, thanks, Vinny. He's like this. Wait, I want to sign a picture for you guys. And I thought to myself, that's odd. Because we didn't ask for one.
No.
Could I get anything signed?
You can put next to the Oprah cracker.
The Oprah cracker can be viewed right now on 202 Friends Twitter. Dave, are you the kind of person you hang on to
No.
defeat?
What's the point? I've had so many fuck-ups in my life, and there's going to be millions more. I'd be upset every day.
See, I think that's one good thing, and you never did this when you were younger, Fez, had the baseball in your background, where errors and strikeouts are part of the game, and you can't hold on to them. You can't play baseball if you think about errors and strikeouts.
Getting out you get out 7 out of 10 times if you're good.
And a lot of times, how many times you hit a line drive? It should be a fucking double. But it just happened to go right at somebody. Right. But you hit a fucking frozen rope right at some fucking asshole who throws his glove up.
Yeah.
You can't hold on to it.
That's
and then other
life.
times, you just fucking, there's a fucking ground ball you could make a million times in a row, and for some reason, you fucking kick it. What are you going to do? You piss for a second, and you move on.
Yeah, I see. I can't distract myself enough.
I agree that you say can't. I'll now believe you. Because I think it's won't, but you don't have the same abilities that me and Dave have? We're somehow better abilities than you?
I think when it comes to that sort of thing, blowing something off, and just, I could say I could care less, but it's like I don't convince myself.
You want everyone you meet to love you?
Yeah, I think so. I like to be liked.
And yet, you are in a lot more fights than I am.
I'm constantly, yeah.
Now, I'm probably a more sarcastic person than you. Not that much more, because you kind of are sarcastic. But I don't, I realize not everybody's going to like me. You want every single person to like you. And then when they say even anything, you're so pissed.
Oh, yeah, then it just goes totally personal.
We should make up a list of the people you hate. I bet it's a long fucking list, like a Santa Claus list.
The naughty list.
And here's the thing about Vinny. I don't know why he wouldn't leave you alone. I saw the pain in your face.
Right.
I saw you painfully wanting to be left alone. And I felt for you.
Maybe, he's
and then I felt it was such a distraction, too.
What?
I was distracting him.
Yeah, you were distracting him.
I mean,
by not talking.
By more than if I, had started flapping my arms and doing chicken noises. I was just as distracting to him.
I doubt that. I think if you were doing chicken noises and flapping your arms, he wouldn't even be able to focus.
Who could focus with the chicken noise?
Pat from Menaki said basically on his Twitter that you today slapped me down because he wanted to make it a Ron Bennington's cupcake eating contest, but you think Spam is better. I've never known Pat to badmouth anybody, but he and Fez are in a little battle right now.
Yeah, I was surprised by his competitiveness.
He's very nervous that an amateur eater is going to show up Thursday night at the live gig and out-eat him.
You know what? I'm ready to go this far. I'm ready to put my money, big money.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put down $2,000
Wow.
on Pat from Menaki.
Oh.
I think he's going to destroy Fez.
Wow.
Sounds to me like he's trying to get out of the spam.
You in on this? You want to take me on? Make a little 2 G's for yourself? I'll tell you right now, I'll gut you while you're eating. If I even see you take a single bite ahead, I'll slice you and everything will fall out, and I'll yell foul.
He never ate that spam.
I can prove it. You got to digest. Can you seriously out-eat him?
Yeah, I think I can.
Can you eat him out?
Yeah, I could do that too. I could eat him anyway.
You can eat his ass?
He's going to feel like his ass got eaten.
Is that bad or good?
It's bad for him.
See, in the hetero world, that would be good, but I guess in the other world, it's bad. Mike said if anybody is going from Chicago to New York, he'll send as many Ronnie B's as we want. That's why you're always fucking nice, Mike Kaka. You're the anti-Fez. Who's biggest on your list of people you don't get along with right now? Vincent Pastore?
I think he's gone to the tops.
It's going to be great, Ron.
Despite the signed photo.
You know, it's like we had one thing, they said, don't bring this up. I don't care. Sure, I won't bring it up. And then he kind of brings it up.
They always want to talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
They just don't want you to bring it up.
I know.
You can never be in control.
So see, now you're like, what? We bringing it up?
Well, I said I could bring it up, but you can't bring it up.
Even the ShamWow guy had something he didn't want to bring up.
Right.
You're the fucking ShamWow guy. No one cares about your personal fucking life, ShamWow.
I did. Till he fucked me.
I think if we don't hear from Frenchie by the end of the show, we're going to move on. God bless her. I love her. But it doesn't seem like she can put together a Pal Talk team. All the other teams are set up now.
Clock is ticking, too. You know, you got to get
And that was the first one we heard back from.
Who, Frenchie?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
We're going to turn it old school.
Yeah, but it's just as fine if she doesn't. It's just as good.
That's why I call her Ann Margaret any given Sunday. She's just sitting there with a dog.
All right.
She's
you know what?
Not knowing what the fuck's going on.
Well, why don't you bring up Ann Margaret Bye-Bye Birdie, who was fucking lovely. And that's the way I think of her.
Don't ever think I didn't think that. Ann Margaret and Carnal Knowledge? Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? I think a woman could look like that.
Fucking amazing, wasn't she?
That's one of the sexiest, visions of a woman on celluloid, in my opinion. Ann Margaret and Carnal Knowledge is ridiculous.
And then the other person called her fat in that fucking movie.
Who, Nicholson?
No, the chick.
Oh, Candice Bergen?
Yeah, Candice Bergen said if you want to go with that fat pig or whatever.
Fuck her, and Murphy Brown sucked.
All right, now you've taken it too far. She did.
She called Ann Margaret fat?
You said you saw the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did see the movie.
But she had an acting job. It wasn't like she's trying to do it. Carnal Knowledge might be a perfect little movie. Now, it's not going to normally show up as a perfect little movie because it's not feel good. But for what they set out to do, it's tough to beat that.
I think everyone has their own arc in Carnal Knowledge, and their arcs, and this is key, come to a satisfying end. If every character has an arc, and that arc comes to an end, and you're completely satisfied, to me, that's a perfect movie.
Fez, give me a perfect movie. Now, by the way, we're not going to Godfather this. We're not going to Chinatown. And since we get that. But let's, a lot of times, a perfect smaller movie, it's not even trying to be that. It's just a great small movie.
Perfect movie, Groundhog's Day.
Can't beat it.
You get the comedy, you get the romance, you even get a darkness. You get the darkness of the character.
You know, in the original screenplay, they said he was there for 10,000 years.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they had some kind of a shitty thing of showing how he ended up there, that, you know, there was some spell cast upon him.
Oh,
and they
good.
did away with all that. Matter of
Smart.
fact, even in the beginning, you were supposed to come up and he was there for a long time. So here's an interesting thing. For a perfect small movie, sometimes it's what gets cut out that makes it better. I'll give you a movie. You're going to be surprised by this. But for me, Almost Famous is perfect, just the way it is. Now, when you get the extras, I don't like them. I don't know why. It's because I didn't see them in the first place. I don't want the fucking extras. I want it exactly the way I had it before. It felt perfect.
The extras don't advance the film and also make it a 2-hour, 45-minute movie rather than a, 2:10, which it was. I think Rushmore is a perfect film. Everyone undergoes, that kid undergoes an arc, the teacher, and of course Bill Murray does as well. And it's just fucking perfect.
Arch needs to set something out here today. Arch, what do you got for us, pal?
I'd like to take this opportunity to announce that today is the 10th anniversary of the starting of Whackbag. And
Happy birthday, Whackbag. On the Twitter account, let's get a close-up picture of Dave's Whackbag tattoo with just put happy anniversary above that. Happy
very
anniversary,
appropriate,
Whackbag.
very
yeah.
appropriate. And your line of the day, sir, which is the only reason I even have a computer, is just about to hit 8,000.
Wow, unbelievable. You know, I know RonFez.net tried this for a little while. I guess it fell apart. And even there's Ronnie B quotes out there on Twitter. And I'm really touched by that. But Whackbag line of the day, it's going on for so long. So much love. Thank you so much, Arch. And happy anniversary to everybody over there.
Cool in the gang. See ya.
Congratulations.
Cool and the gang. Cool and the gang. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Hey, Jim, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Perfect movie, Harold and Maude.
Harold and Maude, you know what? I haven't even seen that in many years. Always loved that film, though. Dave.
Fantastic. That is a perfect movie. Great resolution. The kid is unbelievable, and so is the old lady.
Oh, Ruth Gordon. Ruth Gordon's the best.
Yeah. And a great soundtrack, which doesn't hurt a perfect film.
It was
Every Hal Ashby movie.
Actually,
every Hal Ashby movie has the best soundtracks.
Yeah, Hal Ashby was absolutely phenomenal during his short career there in the 70s. But, you know, there's one of those soundtracks that doesn't happen too much. Just one artist on the entire soundtrack.
I love that. Cat Stevens just fucking played his heart out with that shit.
Listen to what fucking Hal Ashby did in a short time. Let's start here. 71, let's go. Harold and Maude.
Great.
Last Detail. Maybe a perfect movie. Shampoo.
Awesome.
Bound for Glory. Coming Home.
I love.
And then Being There. Unfucking believable.
That's a hell of a run.
That would be anybody's great if someone said, here's my favorite movies of all time, because those movies are far enough away from each other.
Coming Home is actually maybe my favorite Vietnam movie. Maybe after Apocalypse Now. But Coming Home, I love. I think it's
better than Platoon?
I like it better than Platoon. I think it's really underrated. And you want to talk about a soundtrack, they had Strawberry Fields and Stone songs before the Beatles and Stones started charging people out the ass.
I want to get back to this perfect movie, but Fred from Brooklyn has a problem. I want to deal with it. Hey, Fred, how you doing, buddy?
Please, it's not from Brooklyn anymore. I'm like Dirk Diggler from Boogie Nights. It's just Fred Brooklyn.
Fred Brooklyn.
Yes, Fred Brooklyn. From rhymes with cum, so I want nothing to do with it.
All right, Fred Brooklyn's on the phone. How are you,
Thank
Fred?
you. Thank you. A bunch of people in the room here with me, we can't get in touch with Frenchie.
Yeah.
Millie Hatchett's trying to get in touch with her. Mooch is trying to get in touch with her. We're trying to get this team together over here and get something going. But we feel like if we're going to be part of the Pal Talk team, we need to know. We need to organize. We need to get this thing going.
It looks like Pal Talk is the only one that can't pull this off.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to remove Pal Talk.
No!
And go with St. Pete Times. and just
No,
see if
we
we can't
we
get
got a
5
great team
writers
lined
in
up.
columnists from the St. Petersburg Times.
That would be a tough team.
Yeah, they will be.
Yeah.
Millie had
Gary Shelton
coming
leading
all the
them
way
up.
in. She wants to get kissed by Richard Dawson, whoever that might be.
I don't even know what that means. All right, Fred Brooklyn. We'll look into it. I don't know what's going on with Frenchie, though.
If you need a team captain, I'm being drafted here on Pal Talk, but I'll drop everything and I'll get a team together.
All right. Talk to you later. No, I think if we don't have Frenchie, we're just really going to drop Pal Talk altogether.
Oh, no.
And
So
maybe
what about
go
Twitter?
Well, Twitter is going to be up to...
There is Twitter.
Yeah, there's a Twitter team, and that's Just John. Just John's going to be captaining that.
Taking the reins today, just announced.
All right, Fred Brooklyn.
All right,
If we drop Pal Talk, Dave, who would you like to see take over?
Okay, if there's a team, you're talking about a team?
Yeah.
How about a people Fez hates team? All of the sworn enemies of Fez, all of the rivals.
No, you know what? This has got to be Fez's night. I mean, I like, doing mean stuff to Fez, but not on his night. If he beats you, and he turns around and beats Pat from Monarchy.
Which he could very well in both.
And he thrills a room and wins back to serious suits. Yes, we got to keep him. We got to keep that being his night.
Fez, how about
I'm not in a gauntlet that night. It starts by being a giant Hitler baby out on Broadway, making my way to the gig.
We're going to have plenty of time to plug. I don't have much time left in this show, and I promise perfect movie. Eric, what do you got?
Hold on. It's 607 in the house. Yo, guys, I think Dave's been confused, and I got a follow-up. Ronnie, Fezzi, and Dave, if you guys had to put yourself as one of the characters in Dave's Been Confused in high school, who would you guys be? Who would you
First of all,
relate to?
I wouldn't have been going to fucking school in Texas. So fuck those shit eaters. And the first fucking guy who ever hit me on the ass with a board would have got fucking kneecapped. I couldn't drop that. That's the only thing about that film I hate. Other than that, it very much, like Almost Famous, has a better 70s feel. And the fucking, when the keg party's over and you hear Tuesday's Gone playing, perfect. Perfect.
That's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
I mean, it's a kind of, a 70s American Graffiti. Let's give George Lucas a little credit.
We always will for that.
It's,
Any of those fucking kind of films, Lucas has got to be remembered, because American Graffiti was a perfect film.
I think American Graffiti is much more of a perfect movie than even Dazed is.
And I'll tell you what, I'll pick American Graffiti over all his fucking films. If you could only keep one and you had to burn the other, I'd burn all those fucking Star Treks and Indiana Joneses.
Well, I mean,
burn them.
Empire Strikes Back is a perfect movie.
It can't be. It's in the middle. You can't exist without the other two movies.
That goes against your resolution rule.
Yeah, it does. Goes
because
against it. You're right, Fez. You're up 1-0.
Thank you.
If the other two movies didn't exist, I would have thought that's still an incredibly cool ending.
Let me ask you this. Perfect movie. And I'm not going to go way back on everybody.
Okay.
All right? I'm not going to fucking start pulling a gentleman Jim Corbett. But in like the last 25 years, Durham Bulls. Perfect fucking movie. The Bull Durham movie.
The Bull Durham is great.
Has got everything that you fucking need in it.
That's a perfect movie. For sure. For sure. Great hysterical performance, too, by Tim Robbins. I thought, if you're going to do the Bull, too, Raging Bull's a perfect movie. Forget about it.
Well, you see, but that's everyone knows.
That's known, okay.
That's already known. That's going to make the top 10 of anybody's list.
Okay.
And Fez, the movie that you picked out.
Groundhog's Day.
Makes the top 1 of Fez's list. Whenever we're talking about movies, we get What About Bob or Groundhog's Day from him. And then, like Vincent Pastore said, he sits back.
What about Let It Ride? Perfect
This is
movie.
the thing that is in my head and I can't get rid of it. When Vincent Pastore goes, he gets paid the same as you. That bugs me a little bit now.
Let It Ride?
I can't get over this thing. That I got in my head.
It's a
fucking
horse
bothering me.
racing movie.
Could be perfect.
Mike, you're on Run Fez.
Hey, guys. Perfect movie for me. Definitely The Apartment, Jack Lemmon, gorgeous.
We're not even going to include the Billy Wilders because he's too fucking perfect. He's known for being perfect. So, yes, that goes without saying. I hope everything's okay with Frenchie. You know what? Maybe it was too much pressure to be in charge of a team.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe it's her daughter who's running the team now and wants to bang Steaming Willie Beeman.
Can I just bring up one extra thing?
Yeah.
Stop it with that imperfect movie. You keep flaunting around. JD, what do you got?
How about High Fidelity for perfect movie?
I really like my only problem is I like the book better. That's one of the problems of reading books.
A lot of the same people were involved in the creation of these two movies. I actually like Grosse Point Blank better. I think that's more of a perfect movie. Even though it's silly, I think it's a perfect movie because it has the right kind of vibe.
If you told me High Fidelity and Grosse Point Blank were on two different channels, I'm picking High Fidelity.
I would.
Grosse Point Blank, fine to watch once. It's a good movie. I'm going to give it a see it if we were on that fucking show. But I don't rewatch that fucking film.
You should. Alan Arkin's unbelievably hysterical. It's great. John Cusack, it's one of his better roles.
Ask him which he's more proud of. I'd be curious to know. I'd be fucking curious to know. I really would be. John and Matt, Sherman and Fez.
Hello, boys. Classic coming-of-age movie in the 70s, Breaking Away.
I won an Oscar. We're trying to do like small movies that haven't gotten a lot of fucking heat.
Yeah.
Like, of course, any Bill Murray movie. Patty in Jersey, you're on Fez. Once, twice, Patty, anymore? Matt, you're on Fez.
Hey, yeah, perfect movie is Coming to America.
Stop it. 866 Run Zero Fez. 866 Run Zero Fez. Lynn, you're on Fez.
Hey, boys, how are you?
What can we do?
Train Spotting. That's my perfect movie.
I'll tell you what, it's definitely the best dope sick movie you'll ever fucking see. If you want to know what it's like to fucking get rid of heroin, try watching that fucking movie and not throwing up.
It's the best fall in a toilet
I'll
scene.
say something controversial. I always thought that movie gets slow the last 20 to 30 minutes. As soon as Tommy starts getting too much AIDSy and stuff, it lost.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I'm telling you, the fucking dope kicking scenes are so dead on.
That's fucking great for an hour and a half, and then I think it runs. Actually, Danny Boyle's film before that, Shallow Grave, I believe is a perfect movie.
Vito in West Palm.
Hey, what's up? How about a Paul Newman movie that didn't get enough credit? Nobody's Fool. See the cast on that movie?
It was a great little film.
I love that movie. Bruce Willis, too, great in that.
The scene that kills you, though, when old man Paul Newman can't even walk into that old house of his because he got beat up there 60 years before. Still had fear in his face. And little kid fear. Paul Newman was phenomenal. And yes, you're right, one of my favorite fucking Bruce Willis roles.
Really good.
He was terrific in that.
But Paul Newman had a tendency to make perfect movies, one after another. Road to Perdition, if you're going to do an old Newman.
No, I don't even. I'd fucking pick this film over Road.
Really?
Yeah, way over. Road to Perdition, to me, was old school gangster stuff brought back. Very, very dull for me. But so many Paul Newman. First of all, Cool Hand Luke, I'll put it against any fucking movie anybody's got. I might even pick that over The Godfather if we were sitting down to watch movies.
Wow.
Still working that Cool Hand, and he got nothing. Well, that's it. We'll be back here tomorrow in a much better mood.
That's the end of my show. Donk.